Okay, here I have made some questions we can get from using Pandas. So first question, how to check first and last 5 lines. We do that to check if I have correct file and also if there's any noise are added to the file when we read the file. And the second question is how can we know the number of compounds in the dataset, which is normally the number of rows. The third, I need to know the column names. Well, if I can print it, then I can easily see that. But sometimes we need to access the specific column at the specific index of the data frame. So this is called data frame. Okay, I think I should explain a bit about data frame. So these data type is called data frame, and who named it? Um, I don't know, but this is called data frame. So that's why we use these. By taking this and this, we call it df, data frame. These are the line number, which we call it index. And this is the column name. So if you want to access this small code, then we need to know index of here and the column name, or we can check the index of the column. So I said starting index in the programming always starts from 0. So this is also 0, 1. If we put the index of the column, the index will be like this. Yes. So we if you use pandas to access to this data frame and handle the data set, also to get the answer for the specific questions, you can use pandas. So I'll just try to answer these 6 questions. What is the maximum mean, median, medium value of LC50 value? Because people may want to know what is the most toxic one, less toxic compound, and what is the mean or median value, and how many molecules have sulfur in the structure. And maybe some people, I don't know, this is really important question. I just made this question to practice pandas. Does the molecule with sulfur have higher toxicity than the others that don't have sulfur? So I'll try to show you how to do that. You can do this with head. Head is a function to check the first 5 line. But if you put the number here, you can check more. So you see, when you use it, I use variable, which is this variable. This variable has this Excel file, and not the entire Excel file, but this specific tab. So it's reading the data from the second tab of this Excel file and then save it to here. So we call this variable, and this is a function. But in pandas, when I use pandas to read Excel first, I use pd and then dot and then the name of the function. So this pandas has a bunch of functions that are very handy to analyze data. And so we can get the function in the pandas by this period. So maybe you can tap. No, nothing happens. But some IDE. Oh, you can see here. So if you add period and tab, it shows what functions does it have. There are many actually. So we don't need to know every functions in pandas, but we need to know which functions are needed to do the task I'm going to do. So using Copilot really helps to find the appropriate functions to do the task you want to do. So here, so if you want to take the function in the pandas, you always use period. So here, I also use dot and the name of the function. And then the next in the function, it always start with parentheses, and then you can input the value required for the function. And to get the loss, okay, this is the first line, this is the last line. So I use tail. I here used shop, which is to comment the line. So if I remove here, it will give an error message because this is not a Python code. But if you want to put a description of your code, you always use comment. Okay, so this is the first line, first 5 lines of the code, and last 5 lines of the code is using you can use tail. So you actually have, you see the index are ended at 87. And you printed last 5 lines of the second tab of the Excel file. Okay, and let's move on. So I want to know the number of compounds. One of easy way is using shape. So here you see shape doesn't have parentheses because this is not a function. So you can differentiate if it is a function or not by the parentheses. If I add parentheses here, I'll have an error. Hey, shape is a tuple. It's not callable. When I say it's not callable, which means it's not a function. So function is something callable and other thing is not. So it says it's tuple. So what is tuple? You can check this. Print, and there's a function called type to see the type of these value. So it says a tuple. If you use tf type, it says pandas. It's something in pandas and it's called data frame. So that's why we call it data frame. It's just how it's named. So there are basic different data type. I'll show you the tuple example, which is parentheses, and there's a least example, which is in the, so square bracket is least, and there's another one called dictionary. It's this curly bracket is a dictionary, so it has a key, index 0, index 1. So I just put a name of variable as an example. So I can test it like this. Tuple least dictionary. Oops, I got a typo. So it says I have a typo, and it says, oh, I cannot find it. So it doesn't say there's a typo, but it says I don't find it. So you should interpret this error message. So this Jupyter couldn't find it because it is a typo. So I print it. It's surrounded the parentheses, and it says it's tuple. So it's actually the name of the data structure. So there are 3 mainly used: data structure, tuple, list, and dictionary. You're gonna see these a lot, but I just want to show you different bracket or parentheses means different type of data. So this is the tuple, but what we really want to do was to check the number of size of the Excel file. Excel, it has 88 lines, which is excluding this column line. So in Excel file it's 89, but all the rows that has data will be 88. And the 8 is the number of columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's it. If I want to know the name of the column, you can use, okay, I'll just use print here. And then you can use column. So it can print column. So in the here, you see it's there's a square bracket. So it's like a list, and I can access to specific item by specifying the index. So if I say 1, then it's these 0 and 1. But if I want to more than 1, so from 1 to 3, like a 0, 1, 2, 3, so I'm gonna have these from cast number to milligram per liter. And oh, nope, it's yeah, actually it's ignoring the last one, so it's having 1, 2. I'm always confusing this. So this is one of reason that people making errors, confusing the index. Okay, and how to get to know this number? I can't access to specific column of data frame by mentioning the name of the column, but it's quite difficult to write. So in that case, I can use this one instead. But this is the last one, and by access the last element, we can use negative number. So if I use this one, then I access to this. So it's, yeah, well, first line is coming from this print, second line from here, but the third is in printing this, and it says, the column name is this. So I can check if I read the correct column. So I read correct column and then use the function in this column. So I just want to have average value. And there's one tip to use print. So actually you can just add comma and then add string. PLC 50. Then I can print this string and this value together like this. So I just showed the example of getting mean value. So you can search what is the maximum value function for maximum value, minimum value, or median value. And this question is quite tricky. I'll continue this in the following video, but I hope you are familiar with this handling this. So if you don't really understand, you try to print every details like inside the square bracket, and sometimes making errors like removing here. It doesn't make error, but it describes what this function is doing. So by removing some part, and they can try to make error and how to work the code each line. So I encourage you to make many errors and then learn how it works.